Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Harry Brownsford with SMB Nation with the weekly webinar. And good golly, we're right in the middle of summer. This is the peak of summer, certainly here in North America, and those in the Southern Hemisphere are probably looking forward to the return of summer, so I get that. Couple of announcements, some housekeeping before we jump into the program today. By the way, I'm coming to you live today from a public radio station called KEXP in Seattle. So that's kind of fun to kind of be broadcasting from a place where they do broadcasting. Our 16th annual picnic is this Thursday at my house on Bainbridge Island. And you are welcome to get on a plane and fly up and attend. And we have literally had that over the 16 years. Let me tell you, if the deck boards could talk, we've got stories to tell about that picnic. It's a Thursday afternoon on Bainbridge Island. Bring your sandals, kick back, it's mellow, and quite frankly, it's a nice way to celebrate summer and celebrate the goodness of the SMB opportunity, the SMB area. So you can get information on our 16th annual picnic over at our website, smbnation.com. Just look over at the left. We have a blog posting on it. So feel free to join. Use those airline miles, fly on up and join us. The other thing is our Tour to Cloud tour is kicking off, and we're excited that we'll be anticipating a Trend Micro, today's topic, participating in that. We're having fantastic talks with them on that. So tourtocloud.com or go to smbnation.com and look for the blog entry on Tour to Cloud. At least 9 cities this fall, starting about mid-September. And folks, we're hitting new cities. The request was loud and clear. Two requests. One was Azure content, and the other was new cities. So you're going to see us in cities like Columbus, Ohio, Detroit, and ironically, we are not even we're not holding a workshop in Seattle, Washington. We've done that about 30 times. So really excited about the fall tour. That's the highlights right now. So I want to jump right into the program. It's a return visit from Parker Thompson, my friend in Dallas, and your friend by the end of this webinar. It's the SMB security dilemma. We're having a ransomware conversation. So, Parker, welcome. And I got to know, we're barely hitting 80 degrees up here. We've had a cold summer. What's the temperature down there? Are you having a hot summer?
Oh, it's triple digits every day for the last 3 weeks, and I think this weekend will be the first time we go below 100 in quite a while. So it'll be a nice break for us.
There you go. We should combine the two temperatures and divide by 2, and we'd all feel comfortable.
Absolutely.
So Parker, you sir have the talking stick. Let's get going.
Appreciate it, Harry. My name is Parker Thompson. I manage a large portion of the Trend Micro reseller channel here, mostly specific or mainly focused on our MSP partners. And today we wanted to have a discussion with you all about a security dilemma for the SMB market that we've seen become more prevalent over the last 12 months. That security dilemma itself is focused mainly around the budget for security. We've seen security budgets increase pretty substantially over the last 3 years. However, over the last 12 months, we've noticed a marginal increase in the spending from small to medium businesses on security. And the dilemma there is that a lot of these small, medium businesses are under the impression or have the misconception that cloud-based platforms that they're investing in, like Office 365, that come with built-in security features, are providing adequate enough security for them to be protected. However, that is not necessarily the case, and the security that's built into these platforms is often just enough to get by, but not nearly enough to actually be secure. So today we're going to take a look at Office 365 specifically and some of the enhanced security features, or mainly one of the enhanced products that Trend Micro offers called Cloud App Security. Before we do that, I want to address the SMB landscape a little bit and how it has evolved over the past few years. We are in the midst of an evolution within the SMB market with information at its epicenter of this change. creating value, agility, and expansion to global markets is part of this evolution, and new business models have been formed thanks to this evolution, leveraging social networking, the cloud, and mobility to help create new ways in which information can be leveraged, stored, and accessed not only internally but externally for customers as well. Unfortunately, there is a downside to all this innovation. Obviously, hackers are constantly looking for new ways to infiltrate these environments, and as quickly as the SMB market is evolving, I apologize for that, as quickly as the SMB market is evolving, hackers and people with malicious intents are finding new ways and innovative ways of getting into organizations. And the goal of these infiltrations is to go after what we deem as the most valuable asset to these new age small and medium businesses, be the data that they hold, not only for their internal information, but as well as the data they hold for their customers. For SMBs, the threat is absolutely real. If we look at information provided by the National Cybersecurity Alliance, we'll see that small businesses are often less equipped to protect against attacks from cyber criminals, and often have less resources to protect themselves as well. Nearly half of all these small businesses have become victims of some sort of cyber attack, and 71% of these breaches target small businesses. And we believe that 71% of breaches target small businesses specifically because of that fact that they are less equipped, easier to access. So the overall revenue stream that these cyber criminals can generate from small businesses may be incremental, but if you set that to a large scale, it is going to be far more efficient than trying to go hunt the big fish. Among small and medium business owners that suffer a breach, we do find that a staggering 60% go out of business after the first 6 months. So how is email and file sharing changing? User behavior has changed significantly since the introduction of cloud, and more specifically Office 365. So instead of submitting attachments over email, we are finding that attachments are shared through cloud sharing resources like Box, Dropbox, Google Drive, Microsoft OneDrive. The issue with this is that with respect to email and these behavioral changes, we are noticing that people don't really take into account that they are leveraging these file sharing resources. So what small businesses don't tend to pay attention to is they assume that things are still traditionally being done. But like this example right here, where if you send an email, you are often asked to upload it to OneDrive. This prompting to upload to OneDrive is kind of a nudge to allow users to get to use OneDrive more frequently, subsequently resulting in more use, and that more heavy use of Microsoft Office OneDrive may not be recognized by the company, therefore not providing security for it. The challenge with this is if you're looking to scan outbound files with an email gateway, and if they're being put into OneDrive, you're not being able to scan them through more traditional methods like MX record redirects and things along those lines that have traditionally been used to provide email security or even on-site exchange security. These files that are uploaded into OneDrive, Box, Dropbox circumvent those security measures and subsequently can add a vulnerability to your environment.
Hey, Parker, can I ask you
Yes,
a
sir.
question?
Of course.
Because I've just, boy, since I've last seen you, what was it? Was it several weeks ago? A couple months ago? It was a little while ago you and I got together. But since that time, I've had I'll call it an assignment, a reason to get my head into Slack, which is pretty cool. And, Slack is, it's a lot of things. Some people think it's an email replacement. I don't know if I totally agree with that. But for the purposes of this slide, I will tell you this, that it is a transport for attachment.
Without a doubt.
And then when I dug a little deeper into some past articles and the all-knowing, truthful source Wikipedia. Slack has had some security breaches. Don't know if you have any comments on Slack. I mean, you were mentioning some of these other, OneDrive and Dropbox and all that, and people are using Slack like that. Do you interact with Slack? Do you protect? Just asking how, do you play in their reindeer game?
Not currently. I'm sure it is something that we are looking into because of the popularity of the product, but currently we don't offer any kind of protection for Slack. But yes, your comments there are correct, Harry, that it is something that can be utilized to share documents over, and in turn it can be a point of vulnerability for a company if they're not properly securing the rest of their network. If God forbid, some sort of malicious attachment makes it in, it can be distributed through Slack to other end users, obviously expanding that breach quite substantially.
There you go.
The reason why there's a heavy focus on this, though, is because with Office 365, Dropbox, it's become very difficult to tell what users are actually uploading into the cloud. Is it confidential data, sensitive information? Is it something that's going to put you out of compliance with HIPAA or PCI? And details into that are a little scarce at this point, unless you're leveraging products like Trend Micro's Cloud App Security, which will help you get some visibility into that. So what security risk should organizations be concerned about with email and file sharing? The challenges everybody currently faces in the security market with modern malware is that 90% of that malware is currently only used once. And there's 20,000 unique new variants of malware every hour, with 60% of those leveraging some sort of Microsoft Office file, whether that be Word, Excel, PowerPoint. So it's all very targeted towards Microsoft, and it's the frequency at which it's being used multiple times is far less, and that becomes an issue when you look at how Microsoft scans messages through Office 365. Their SLA for their product does state that they will cover 100% of known viruses. Unfortunately, that only covers 10% of what is currently out there, with 90% of malware only being used once. So the threat is more so in the unknown than it is the known by far. And that's where Trend Micro is going to step in to assist with that. I'll get into more detail with how Trend Micro can assist with the unknown in just a few minutes, but if we look at ransomware specifically by the numbers, we'll see that 2,900 new ransomware modifications or variants were detected in 2016, or Q1 of 2016. That would be over 30 new variants a day for the first quarter of the year. 72% of ransomware victims were unable to access their data for 2 days or more. For small and even some medium businesses, you do have to consider what a substantial impact that would be to a company that runs lean on cash. 2 to 5 days without revenue could put a business under very easily, and I think that's why we see such a drastic number of businesses going out within 6 months of a breach. 209 million has been paid out in ransomware during the first 3 months, and to really put that into perspective, companies like Fitbit do $200 million per quarter. So ransomware is seemingly as profitable as companies like Fitbit would be. 34% of SMBs fell prey to phishing emails in 2015, and that number is only going to increase. And then roughly 40% of crypto wallet attacks were targeted towards U.S.-based companies. That is a total number of 253,000 crypto wallet attacks. So how can a small business or a consultant help a small business augment their Office 365 DLP? Like I had mentioned earlier, Trend Micro has introduced a product called Trend Micro Cloud App Security, which is designed specifically to protect Office 365. This product has been on the market for coming up on 24 months now. And the way this solution works is that it is going to use advanced techniques to find threats, including document exploit detection. So advanced threat scan engines are leveraged on a regular basis with this product. It looks for malware hidden within those Office files, and that is absolutely key to protecting companies with, going back to that note that 60% of malware leverages Microsoft Office file types. Web reputation is a part of the solution, which examines the URLs both in the body of the email as well as within the attachments. It's often known or well known now that criminals are now sending phishing emails with URLs in the attachments to bypass security filters, which may only look at URLs within the body of the email. True file type blocking is another key feature of the product, so it's looking at the header information instead of just the file extensions themselves. Criminals can easily change an extension file to a JPEG to full many built-in security features of Office 365. Sandbox malware analysis, which is a great aspect of Cloud App Security. It is going to open suspicious files in a virtual sandbox to observe actual behavior, to find those zero-day or unknown variants of malware. There is a huge difference between Trend Micro sandboxing feature and the Office 365 sandboxing feature. And that big difference is that Microsoft takes every email and puts it into the sandbox, whereas Trend Micro is using heuristics and behavior techniques to only put in the select potentially malicious emails into that sandbox. Microsoft's way of doing things is going to create security, but it's also going to add a horrible amount of latency to businesses that are leveraging that sandboxing feature. There's a good story of a company that Trend Micro is trying to land an opportunity with, and the customer was trying to pull some data for us, and they sent themselves an email, and it got caught in the Microsoft spam sandbox, and it took 15 minutes for that email to generate and be delivered to the customer. That feature within the opportunity itself helped us close the deal for Office 365, because instead of waiting 15 minutes, we can reduce that time to about 7 minutes per filtered email, and then we also don't filter all the emails. So the latency is seldom, and when we do have that latency due to sandboxing, is a far shorter time. Cloud App Security is completely driven as a cloud service, and it is a direct API integration into Exchange, SharePoint, OneDrive, and those direct API integrations allow for a very easy and very seamless setup. All you need is some admin in about 5 minutes to get those admin credentials put in before you can start having access to providing policies for all the aspects of Office 365, as well as Box, OneDrive, Box, Dropbox, as well as Google Drive. Like I had mentioned a few seconds ago, it is a simple API integration, so there's no MX records, no agents on the devices, no user settings, no web proxy redirect, and it's very simple, very quick, and we do have further demos on this that I will be able to provide you links for, as well as educational information on the product. So if you want to look more into how to set the product up and more detailed information about what types of policies are built within the product, you can see those as well. One of the biggest things that we typically highlight when we talk about Office 365 is something we had addressed earlier, and that's the vulnerability points that are exposed by using traditional email protection, either on-site or redirect of MX records in this new age of file sharing platforms. So if you were to consider a situation where an executive was to receive a document in his personal email address with something that he felt was needed for his sales team to help better sell their product, and he was to download that attachment, which unfortunately is a malicious attachment, and put it into Office 365's SharePoint or OneDrive, or uses Box or Dropbox to communicate with his employees. But either way, he puts that file into the cloud, the employees didn't get an email saying, hey, I've placed this file into the cloud, please go pull it, take a look at it, it's got great competitive information that'll help you sell our product. Each employee that goes to that software, whether it be Box, Dropbox, Google Drive, or OneDrive, and downloads that attachment is subjecting themselves to a malicious file that was a zero-day attack. It was a targeted, it could be a targeted attack directly to that ransomware. But either way, because this file was downloaded into that file sharing, cloud file sharing software, it unfortunately circumvented the traditional scanning methods, which left that company exposed to being exploited. So to recap, why Trend Micro Office Security, Office 365 security? For resellers, it is going to be a great way to maximize your profits. So you can increase deal size, you can increase reoccurring revenue cycles, as well as you can help your customers overcome the security concerns that they may have with Office 365. And then closing deals quicker by supplying a better knowledge around the products that you're offering and showing that you can add security and provide more security to these companies. We've seen the opportunities shrink in lead time to closing them. Protect your customers. Cloud App Security has enhanced security built in for Office 5, obviously, but it has detected right around 500,000 threats during the first 6 months that Office 365 was not able to detect. And then lastly, Trend Micro has been a trusted security vendor for coming up on 28 years now, with 20 years as a Microsoft Gold partner, and trusted by 48 of the top 50 global corporations.
Well, and I would add a trusted friend of the family of SMB Nation. I mean, you guys go back to the very early days. I'm going to say we first started interacting with Trend Micro, I'm going to say at least 2003, could have been before, but you know, the time just flies right by, so I can vouch for your authenticity and that you're a bona fide good citizen.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
One of the coolest features that we've added to Cloud App Security, and as well as the rest of our product line, is the ransomware protection summary widget. So we've noticed how prevalent ransomware has become and how important it is becoming to the customer base. And by adding this feature in here, we allow your customers to see what Cloud App Security is doing to specifically protect them from ransomware. Where you'll see just above available on 527, you'll see that Exchange Online, OneDrive for Business, and SharePoint will all report data back to Cloud App Security's ransomware protection summary dashboard, allowing you to see where the threats are possibly coming from, and the notification that Trend Micro is obviously protecting you from those threats. Trend Micro has a couple of flexible licensing options to get our products as well. So with traditional resellers, you absolutely can continue to go through your distribution partners, place purchase orders for SKUs, and get the keys within 48 hours. Our MSPs do have the opportunity to join a Trend Micro MSP program, which allows you to gain access to Trend Micro's licensing management platform, which is a proprietary platform that we provide to those MSP partners that allows you to instantly create customers, instantly provide licenses to those customers, and instantly access those customers. So it's a single sign-on to a licensing platform, a multi-tenancy management platform, as well as each specific end-user segmented console that allows you to create policies for all of your customer bases that can be distributed in templates or replication from one customer to the next. Or you can create individual policies for each customer as well. And you could even do both, where you start out with the template of your policies and then go back and provide more specificity to a end user's console.
Parker,
Yes,
I
sir.
have some questions. Yeah, we're at the bottom of the hour, so let me do a little bit of housekeeping for those who join late. And then why don't we knock out one
Yes,
or two
please.
questions before they age? So you are listening to the weekly webinar with SMB Nation, and this week Trend Micro, we're having a security conversation, a ransomware conversation, and I'm coming to you live from the public radio station, KEXP in Seattle. If you're hearing that great music in the background, Parker's coming to you live from Dallas. A little bit of housekeeping. We have our 16th annual picnic a week from today, next Thursday, up here on Bainbridge Island in Seattle. So go to our site, smbnation.com. Look on the lower left for information about the picnic. Hop a flight up. We have the Tour to Cloud tour starting in mid-September, 9 cities this fall. Azure, new cities, and storytelling is the primary delivery mechanism. And then I forgot to mention next week, our weekly webinar is the second installment of MSP, Mergers and Acquisitions, Part 2, Sell Side. A lot of requests for us to do a deeper dive on selling your practice, and we'll go into that with Tim Carlson. Parker, first of all, a couple of comments. We have Alex over in Dublin saying it's 63 degrees over there. Must be about 7:30 p.m. because we're GMT minus 7. We have Joseph asking. Here's some legitimate questions. Joseph asking, as a Trend Micro partner, do I have access to NFRs? If so, where do we get them from? I think you talked a little bit about that, but the question is access to NFRs.
Joseph, you do have access to, not for resale keys, those keys are accessed from the Trend Micro Partner Portal. And Harry, if you would send me over Joseph's contacts information, we will be able to get him access to those NFRs for internal testing and evaluation as well.
Yep, no problem. And then Joseph also asked, does this plug into the worry-free business security services product, or is it a separate product to install?
It is a separate product to install. Depending on your customer's licensing model, they will be able to manage them from a centralized console, whether that be the Trend Micro Customer Licensing Portal, where you'll be able to open the worry-free console, or the Cloud App Security console independently from that page. If they are an MSP customer, this will integrate with your Trend Micro Remote Manager. For those of you that don't know much about the MSP program, I'll go into more detail about what I mean by that in just a few minutes. Either way, they are run separately, but the license management and access to the consoles can be centralized from a couple of different portals.
Okay, then finally for this round, we have Neil Cassidy asking. Neil asked, I already have Trend Micro. Does this work with in-house Exchange server?
Cloud App Security itself is not going to protect the Exchange database. We do have a couple of other products that are specific to Exchange databases, being Trend Micro Scan Mail, or if this isn't necessarily your cup of tea, you can also use the more traditional hosted email security, which is going to be a redirect of the MX record. But if you're looking for something to protect that Exchange server specifically, Scan Mail is going to be the way to go.
Okay, back to your picture show, my friend.
Awesome, thank you so much. So I do want to touch more on the Trend Micro Managed Service Provider Program because of SMB's relationship with managed service providers. So Trend Micro has been offering a managed service provider program for coming up on 10 years now, or a little over 10 years now, actually. We've got over 800 program partners, and Harry, this hasn't been updated in the last couple of months, but we're probably coming closer to 900 partners at this point. So securing 1 million endpoints in the US and roughly 5 million endpoints in the MSP program itself globally. Trend Micro as a whole secures about 155 million endpoints globally. Some of the key advantages to the MSP program are going to be the ability to put money back in your pocket with specialization or small business specialized partners. You can put 5% cash back on a quarterly basis for the aggregate number of licenses that you bring to Trend Micro, or the revenue from those aggregate numbers. Cloud App Security is a part of this MSP program, as well as a handful of other products, including Trend Micro's endpoint solution, worry-free services, Deep Security, which is our award-winning server security product, which will work in Azure environments, as well as traditional hosted email security, which is the MX Record Redirect, and a laundry list of other solutions. Direct access to level 2 engineers. So as an MSP, we recognize that y'all are going to be providing tier 1 support to your customer base. So when you call into the Trend Micro preferred MSP line, you're getting access to level 2 engineers. No upfront cost. It is purely pay as you go. So when you join the program, there are no fees upfront or request for a forecast so that we can charge you based off of the forecasted numbers. It is 100% usage based, which means you send usage reports each month. We then bill you strictly based on that usage. Integration with leading RMMs and PSA tools. Over the last year, we have spent a great deal of time configuring a plugin for ConnectWise, as well as Kaseya, and here within the next few months we're going to be wrapping up a plugin with LabTech as well. And then finally, a leading edge onboarding process. So reps like myself are dedicated to the onboarding of Trend Micro's MSP partners to make sure that y'all are confident in using our tools every day and very educated with not only our products but the platforms that you're going to be leveraging every day as well. Once you are confident and capable of using the platforms on a day-to-day basis efficiently, you are provided a Trend Micro channel manager that can assist with providing you more information about things like NFRs, SPIF programs, specialization, as well as being reactive to your needs around licensing, product questions, or anything that you need addressed. The MSP specific program specifically, I want to kind of address the processes that we go through with new MSPs when it comes time to sign up for the program. So right now you choose between one of 4 distribution partners, being Arrow, Tech Data, Interwork, or Ingram Micro. And once you've declared a distribution partner with us, we can request pricing for the MSP program and the products that you would be interested in. A contract is then sent to the partners that is completed and filled out and returned to us. And once we have that contract in place, we will go through an approval process that takes anywhere from 24 to 48 hours with the MSP program directors. And once that approval has come back, we will provide you, the service provider, access to Trend Micro's proprietary platforms, being the license management platform, the Trend Micro, and the Trend Micro Remote Manager. The license management platform is primarily used to manage your customers' licensing, as well as manage the billing that would happen on a monthly basis. The Trend Micro Remote Manager is the multi-tenancy platform that allows you to see high-level information on your customer base regarding threats, systems, and licensing events. It's also going to give you the ability to run reports for your whole customer base against their licensing or threat systems and licensing events, and those reports can be generated daily, weekly, or monthly depending on your needs. The Trend Micro Remote Manager also has the ability to create customers, apply policy templates to customers, and it also allows you to easily on the fly change license allocation to your customers as well. So instead of having to call Trend Micro, request an additional increase in license, or call distribution and request an increase in licenses, it's a simple 3-step process or 3-click process where you access the customer account from the remote manager and alter the licensing to either increase it or decrease it, which is going to reflect on future usage. From the remote manager, you do have access to each individual customer's worry-free cloud app security, hosted email security console, and through that single sign-on, you can go in and configure policies, deploy machines, or whatever else is needed to remediate threats that may be within that environment. On the first day of each month, once you have, or I guess I should go back, once you have licenses deployed to your customer base and it's time to start reporting usage, you will receive an email on the first day of each month. That email is going to ask you to log into your Trend Micro licensing management platform, and from that licensing management platform, we're going to give you a breakdown of your aggregate license total for each product that you're selling through Trend. And that total for your licenses is pulled from our Trend Micro Remote Manager, so it's not something that is a manual process in any way. You simply open up your usage report and the data is right there for you, provided already. You review that data and then submit that data to your distribution partner, which towards the middle of the month will invoice you based on that month's usage. There are reports that allow you to also pull itemized list of your customers' usage, so you can turn around and know that you're properly billing your customers as well using our reports generated from our consoles. The Trend Micro Remote Manager is what has an integration into ConnectWise, Kaseya, as well as soon to be LabTech. So ticketing, billing, monitoring, reporting, all of that for the partners that are leveraging Kaseya, ConnectWise, and soon LabTech is run through those platforms specifically. So Trend Micro's value, it integrates easily into SMB solutions you already sell. We are a partner with the SMB market leaders. Extend value to your customers through our security offerings and our history as a security provider. Gain incremental revenue streams, which I know is very key to MSPs. Being able to add a security line to your offering is going to be a great resource for additional revenues. And then access to value add through partner marketing collateral. So email templates, videos, flyers, things that are going to be distributed to your customer base to market them the need for security is something that we can provide you. Trend Micro's goal is to be your security wingman when it comes to selling security services to your customers. If you would like to test drive Cloud App Security or any of our products, you can select this link from the deck, and we're going to provide this deck to you after the presentation. If you'd like to become a Trend Micro MSP partner, you can select that link, or you can contact Jonathan White, who is the director of our small and medium business marketing, and he will be happy to provide you any information that you would need or put you in contact with the people that can.
Yeah, and Parker, what I would tell you is a lot of people on this call will remember Jonathan White from the Microsoft TS2 days. I think they had Big Day, TechNet, that event model for the TS2 program. Jonathan and I go back to that, and then he, at one point, folks, he also was on the Worldwide Action Pack team. So we welcome Jonathan back into our realm. Go ahead, Parker.
That wraps it up for me. I'm ready to field any questions that come over.
Okay.
Also, in the deck that we're going to be providing is some more additional information on that co-branding information. The MSP playbook, which will give you recorded detail as to how to use our LMP and Trend Micro Remote Manager platforms on a daily basis, and then thanks to Ingram Micro and Tech Data, they've also supplied us with playbooks that their partners can use as well.
Okay, great. So we have, let me get back to that screen. There we go. I have another question from Dan Mortensen. Dan is asking, is Autotask on the roadmap?
Yes, Dan, Autotask is currently integrated with us from a billing and ticketing standpoint. Full-fledged integration has not been considered for Autotask yet, but that's something that may be on the roadmap for 2017. Our focus right now is completing that integration with LabTech.
Okay, great. Folks, this is your opportunity to ask questions. We'll give it a couple of minutes, and then it's back to the salt mine. So while you're formulating your question, let me just make sure I'm not missing any. Screen. Parker, I feel your pain today. I'm on a single screen right now, not my multi-monitor, not the triple. Yeah, okay, good. I can see the question interface. So folks, if you have any more questions, be sure to ask those. While we're waiting, I'm just going to reiterate once again, the 16th annual Picnic SMB Nation is this next Thursday, a week from today. Go to our site, smbnation.com, all the details, book your flight today. Tour to Cloud, 9 cities starting mid-September in the U.S., new cities and Azure. And then next week's webinar is webinar number 2 on the MST Merger and Acquisition Series, M&A, and next week is sell side. So I'm not seeing more questions this time, Parker. So I think that may be a sign that the dog days of summer have arrived. By the way, Parker, I looked. Sir, do you realize it was 2 months ago that you and I connected and did a community webinar? It's mid-June. That's kind of scary.
Good.
Mid-August now.
I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah, that went quick.
I guess the only plug I can make for SMB Nation is if y'all are in Texas, please sign up for either the Dallas, Austin, or Houston. Trend Micro does expect to be a part of those, so
that's right.
Either myself or Jonathan will be on site, and we would be happy to shake hands and meet those SMB Nation partners that want to be Trend partners as well.
That's right. That's right. Now we're headed in the right direction. Okay, oops. Bob Mitrio came through with a question. Okay, thank you, Bob. The question is, can Trend Micro actually prevent you-know-who from being elected? Bob, stop now. He didn't say that. Can Trend Micro actually prevent code execution when a ransomware file is inadvertently opened? So prevent code execution when a ransomware file is inadvertently opened.
So the worry-free product, worry-free services product, as well as many of our other endpoint solutions are going to take steps to help prevent from an end user being their own worst enemy. Worry-free services and Office Scan specifically have behavior monitoring features built within them that are obviously going to try and prevent the infection from even getting to the point of being opened itself. If all else fails, they do have a policy that you can configure that would allow Trend Micro to stop unauthorized encryption processes within the environment. We deem unauthorized encryption processes as a frequency of encryption being a threshold of 3 files or 3 documents within a matter of 30 seconds. So if that threshold is violated, Trend Micro will then stop the encryption processes altogether and notify the administrator that there is a potential ransomware style attack within the environment. Bob, the answer to your question specifically is yes, it is going to attempt to stop the user from opening those files or being able to execute that file through multiple means, but if for some reason it does not, there are fail-safes in place that can stop that encryption process or attempt to stop that encryption process if it gets to that point.
Excellent. And let me just check off on that one screen. Roll down. Okay, folks, that's it. Parker, I think we're going to go ahead and call it good for today, sir. So thank you for joining us again.
Of course.
Parker, can you go back? Yeah, can you go back one more time to the screen with Jonathan White's contact information? I think the screen back. If you have that handy, just so people can take it in. There we are, folks. Be sure to make a visual on that. You are going to receive a thank you notification from myself with links to the replay of the webinar, some other resource information. So thank you once again for joining us. Have a fantastic day and summer weekend. Parker, thank you very much. Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you.